Good morning to you, our audience. Ted and Ed TV channel welcome each of you to our weekly Saturday broadcast where we give insightful views on economic, political, world, and environmental issues concerning how money connects those matters. Our hosts, Mr. Ted Harvey Sr. and Mr. Edward Bishop III, are now taking each of you into our world of money and its value, along with the evils that come from the greed of hoarding financial power. He that controls the gold controls the important decisions in this world.
Oh, man, there we go.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ted and Ed TV show, Money Connection. Good morning, Ed. How are you?
Oh, Ted, good morning. Good morning. Good morning to all of our viewers out there. It's kind of a dreary day here in Georgia, but like they always say, there's a rainy night in Georgia.
I'm sorry to hear that. Because it's nice and sunny here in Florida.
Well, it's rainy here in Georgia. It's got that rainy night. But anyway, it's getting back warm again. So I'm feeling good about that warmth of that thing because it's been unseasonably cold here in this city and this state for a while. So. And the trees are starting to bloom, so we're getting back into a good spring here. It's a little late, but we're getting into spring.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but we have a very big show and stuff here coming up, and we want our audience and stuff and everything to hold on to their seats because we got a lot to talk about today.
Oh yeah, a lot to talk about because I would tell you some things that's going on around in this country and in the world, man. It's just unbelievable. And one of the things that we were talking about on our last show that we were going to talk about is healthcare for the elderly. And I know that you got a lot to say about that, Ed, because, you know, from your experiences, and we know that that's a big issue right now for the elderly and the children.
Oh man, it got kind of gotten the excitement out of me and stuff, Ted, because this topic and stuff is very, very, very sad, and it gives a real bad epitaph or conclusion and stuff for our country and stuff that we have, you know, as a country has, and people who are in leaders and people who are in charge of these institutions and stuff to take care of our elderly and stuff are treating our parents and grandparents and stuff in a very, very nasty manner. And it's a horrible sight. And eventually we are going to be in that position and stuff also to where we're going to have to go to a nursing home facility because eventually our people, our children, other folks and stuff, our caregivers and stuff who are out to help us and stuff after we become an invalid or we can't move around because of our age, we're going to have to be involved in this nursing home thing. So it's something that I'm not looking forward to, and it's something that I'm actively involved in and stuff right now. My mother-in-law, my wife's mother and stuff, who is one of her last parents and stuff and everything because her father's gone and now her mother is the last one living. My parents and stuff, they're both gone, and they didn't have to go through what her mother and stuff is going through. But we had a chance back when my mother was old and elderly to see a little bit of it. But what I'm seeing and stuff now, Ted, is just horrible, man. It's just horrible. You go into these places and stuff, these are huge places and stuff. It's got maybe 40, 50, 60 elderly people up in there. They're sitting in their rooms or whatever, or they pick them up and wake them up in the morning, put their clothes on them, and they sit them in a chair. And you walk in the door, and man, and they are just sitting there like in a row in wheelchairs and stuff, just there with nothing to do. And it's just horrible and stuff seeing because most of them are just sitting there waiting to die.
Just waiting to die.
Just waiting to die. And the treatment that they are giving them, man, is just horrible. is luckily my wife is she's retired, so she's able to visit her mom and stuff every day. She goes in there every day and see her. And she was told by some of her other friends who have been through that whole thing that when you go into a nursing home, a lot of times the people who work there, they find out that your schedule when you come in. So they realize that, oh well, her folks gonna come in here between 10 and 11 o'clock, so we're gonna make sure that we take care of their parent or their person and stuff that they're coming there to see during this period of time, and they're looking okay. But then after they leave, you don't take care of them anymore. So my wife goes in there like in the morning sometimes, she goes in the afternoon sometimes, and sometimes she stays there late at night, and she sees what the folks and stuff are doing. They are
what they're not doing.
What they're not doing. They are paid and stuff and everything to make sure that the patients and stuff are eating every day. Well, sometimes these places and stuff and everything, they don't feed these people.
Wow.
My wife had been in there, and this was one of her off times of going in there for the dinner hours. She came in there about 4 o'clock. They had been fed about 6. 6 o'clock goes by, her mother doesn't have her tray. 6:30 goes by, mother doesn't have her tray. 7 o'clock goes by, her mother doesn't have her tray. 7:30 is here. Tray's still not there. She walks out in the hall out of her room and looks down there, and they used to have this great, big, huge unit and stuff that has everybody's food in, and they're feeding people. They take the food into their room and they're feeding them, and then they, once they get finished eating or whatever, then they take all the tray, put them back on there, and move this thing back to the kitchen. Well, when she walked out in the hallway, she sees one of these CNAs running down there and said, "Hey, where's my mom's food?" And she said, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And she gives us a long line of stuff and everything. So my wife goes back in there and sit down for a little bit, and it just eats her up that not only is her mom don't have her food, but everybody in that whole wing haven't eaten yet.
Wow. And it's 7:30.
7:30. They're supposed to eat at 6. So finally, I guess when they realized that my wife is there, they rush to go back to the kitchen and do something and everything. They bring these trays and stuff there and everything, and they throw the trays and stuff in each one of these rooms and stuff. And 10 minutes later, they come back in there and grab the tray and try to put it back onto the thing. Now, everybody in there, Ted, is old and debilitated. It takes them a long time to do anything, and eating takes even longer for a lot of them sometimes. And sometimes the CNAs are paid and stuff and everything to make sure to feed these people because they can't eat by themselves. These people and stuff, Ted, are in their beds, and that's where they sit all day. They can't move. So they have to come in there every 3 or 4 hours and rotate them.
Wow. And if they have to be rotated because they can't move,
they can't move.
They need assistance as far as eating, and sometimes you're probably going to have to sit down and hand feed them.
Absolutely. And they're 10 minutes later, they come back in there, grab my wife's mother's tray. Okay, we got to get the food back into the tray because we got to get this thing straightened out because time's expired. What do you mean? Her mother's still eating.
Nobody care about your time. They worried about going home.
All they care about is going home because they didn't feed everybody. Why didn't they feed them? And then you find out, Ted, that a lot of times what happened is that these people who they have working as CNAs in these centers, who are these unprofessional folks who they have working there to change diapers, make the beds up, and clean everything and stuff up, aren't doing a very good job and stuff and taking care of these older people. Some of these people sit in there, man, for hours, for half a day and stuff, and they only change their diaper like once every 12 hours.
Wow.
So they're sitting there and whatever they got in their urine, the excrement and everything until they get time to go in there and do it. Or they won't make their beds up. Their bed's supposed to be made up every day. That's their job. They don't make their beds up. My wife had came in there a lot of times and stuff, and they supposed to have made her bed up in her mom's bed up in the morning at 6 o'clock at night. Her mom's bed is still not made up. It's wet, and they haven't done anything at all. So imagine what happens to most of those people who are up in there, Ted, who don't have anyone to come in there and watch what they are doing and stuff to their parents or to their people.
Where's all this? It seemed like to me that they should have some type of person going around checking, some kind of state or federal or county or someone running to these places and checking on them, just like, they check on, I remember back in the day, we've seen the movie Claudine, how they used to go into their house and check to see if the welfare people are not cheating, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So they don't have an iron or something that they ain't supposed to be buying.
Right.
Well, just like you saw in Claudine, most of them knew when the welfare lady was coming by there, so they hide everything. Well, they do the same thing.
They put things in order, put everything in order.
And then they hide it because they know this is the day they're coming by there, because the kids are on the lookout, and there's probably 3 or 4 parents and stuff on the block and stuff who on welfare. So they look down the street, the welfare lady's coming, so they go in there, they clean everything all up and hide this and hide that. Well, the same thing goes on in the nursing home. Most of the time, they know when these people are coming by. They clean up everything and make sure it's all done.
Wow. Well, look at here. Let me tell you this. I just wrote down a few statistics here. And this right here is stunning to me. Seniors are living in poverty. And according to the federal statistics, over 7 million people 65 and older live in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
The federal poverty level for a single person now is 29,425.
Mm-hmm.
29,000. The average senior gets $11,800 to live on a year.
Mm-hmm.
And according to some statistics here, give or take 25 million, 60 plus are economically insecure, meaning that they live right on the edge or right below poverty. They might have a Social Security check, a little retirement check, and if they're single, or if they're married, they can live off $50,000 or $40,000 or whatever. But the point is, they have no savings. They have no, the living conditions might be a little off, and what have you. But it's not a lifestyle what they're accustomed to when they were out there working, most of the seniors. Now, you have some people that are seniors, they might have lived off of $25,000 or $20,000 their whole life. But then you have a lot of seniors, was making a good living, and maybe their retirement is gone, or they didn't invest their money, or they didn't save their money for hard times, the car breakdown or whatever. So there's a lot of people in this country that's living in a certain condition. So,
well, that's not the worst part of it and stuff, Ted, is that what you're talking about, because most of the people and stuff that you're saying that's living in there, they have obligations that they have to do. They have to buy their medicine. Most of them, and if you're living and you're 60, 70, 80 years old, you have a medicine regimen and stuff that the doctors and stuff put you under. And so you have to go and purchase this medicine. If you don't have Part D Medicare, then you have to pay for the entire amount of medicine that you get. Some of these people, man, if you go into the drugstores like Walgreens or CVS or whatever, and certain times of the month and stuff, you can walk in there and these older people are sitting there getting their medicine. And most of them are paying anywhere between $500 to $1,000 a month just to buy their medicine. So you're looking at that $11,000 that they are getting, and they are paying either $500 to $1,000 for their medicine. What else? They don't have any money to eat off.
Yeah,
You have no
man. I
money.
mean, you know,
You don't have no money
you
to
don't
pay
pay
your
your rent.
utility bills. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then your president and stuff is enacting policies and stuff and everything that's making it even more devastating because a lot of them have these services and stuff out there called Meals on Wheels. I don't know if you remember about
oh
6 7 months
yeah,
ago,
they cut that.
he said he was cutting the Meals on Wheels. Well, a lot of times, Ted, this is the only meal that these older people and stuff have because they
That's right.
can't cook. Their hands and stuff is probably all messed up. They can't go in there and cook, or they can't go out to the grocery store and buy the food they need and everything. So the Meals on Wheels is a lifesaver for them, and they're cutting off their lifeline.
Well, one of the things that I think that one thing that what we can do for our listeners, you know, and especially people that have elderly parents or whatever, maybe we can come up with some solutions on our next topic, you know, to try to see what all the things that are available, you know, and try to figure out maybe we can be proactive as far as maybe even uh, dealing with these what we call senior daycares or whatever you want to call
Mm-hmm.
them, and find out who should they contact. And you know, even if you don't have parents in there, you know, if you care about people, you know, you should, you know, check on them or whatever, and you know, be
Absolutely,
proactive, you know,
absolutely.
and sort of kind of look at that and see.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that was one of the things that we had talked about, I guess, on Wednesday when we were talking about Dr. King and stuff and how he used the church to bring forth, you know, changes and stuff and everything to people's well-being and stuff and their rights or whatever. Well, if you notice, most of the churches and stuff are being, you know, manned and stuff by older people. So that is a good place to start. They're in those churches and stuff and everything and telling their parishioners and stuff and everything, what services they have. And that one of the ministries and stuff in there should be volunteerism and stuff in the nursing home.
Absolutely.
Going there and stuff and just talking
And not just,
to the
yeah,
people
talking
who are
to them.
there. Yeah,
But not only just bringing the word, but coming in there and making sure that they're eating properly,
absolutely.
care of, because some of them don't even have family, or if they do have family,
Absolutely.
they live miles and miles away. You
Absolutely.
know,
And they can't visit them every day. So they only come there maybe once a month or once every quarter.
yeah,
And it, man, it's some of the things that you see going on there, Ted, will make you cry. I'm
wow,
telling you, it will make you cry. You can go in some of those nursing homes, man, and you walk in the door, man, and the smell will just throw you back. There are nursing homes and stuff like that. And you're right, they have agencies that come out and rate these people, but there is no recourse for people for these particular units and stuff and everything that are not taking care of their patients and stuff. Uh, it's just horrible and stuff because these operators and stuff, what they're doing is that they're getting this money from Medicaid and Medicare. And even with the food, you find out that a lot of these CNAs and stuff who work there, they are from these Asian countries or they're from these countries outside of the United States. And what they're doing and stuff is that they're taking the patient's food and taking it home.
wow. Well, like I said, well, we, you know, one of the things that we can be proactive of, like you just said, the church. But like here, let's change the subject here,
I
because I
know,
see
man. It's
you
sickening.
passionate about this.
It's
Uh,
sickening, man. It's sickening.
yeah.
It's just horrible. But yeah,
One of
go
the
ahead.
things, that that's been going on in the news lately is Sinclair Media Network. That is a, you know, they've been talking about this thing for the last several years. And I remember reading about it, and they were talking about buying up a bunch of stations, which they did. And, you know, and then also they even talking about purchasing the Tribune. Now, this is a conservative, um, sort of white ring organization that's putting out a lot of propaganda. We saw that couple of weeks ago when they all was like in lopstep and saying the same thing, all of them around the TV. So what you got on them?
Well, Ted, I guess if you go out and you Google Sinclair Media Group and stuff, they have a lot of articles and stuff about and where they started from and what went on. From what I've been reading and stuff and everything, they started out to be a very small organization and stuff. There was a gentleman and stuff named Julian Sinclair, who was an engineer, decided to start this company up and everything, and he wanted to buy a radio station, and he did. And he kept going through that rigmarole because, you know, the FCC and the FTC and stuff regulates all of these radio and television stations and everything, and they don't allow any one group to control an entire market and stuff. Say if you're going to Cincinnati, Ohio, and Cincinnati, Ohio has 4 or 5 different radio and television stations. Well, one group can only come in there and buy one television station, one radio station, and that's it. So they're limited to doing that. But Sinclair, through some very unique way of doing some things or whatever, are kind of slipping past those rules and stuff with the FCC. They are coming in, buying up one station, and then they have a partner who comes in and buys up maybe 1 or 2 more other stations or whatever inside of a media market. So in essence and stuff, Sinclair still controls them because they control a partner who comes in there and buys the other television and radio stations. And through these mechanisms and stuff, Sinclair has become a very, very powerful group and stuff out there to control a lot of media communication stuff in our country.
Local stations.
Yeah, these are all local stations and stuff in local markets. But now, like you said, they are expanding themselves into buying these huge organizations and stuff out there, huge conglomerates like the Tribune or whatever, that they are trying to gather control of and everything and stuff now. So in essence and stuff, what they have done and stuff now since 2012 is that they're trying to exploit that Fox News market and everything, taking up these Fox stations because Fox is starting to become less and less powerful and stuff. And then, you know, he's made all of his money and stuff out there. So I'm pretty sure he's getting old there, and his sons and stuff and everything don't want to get involved in that. They have other things they got going on. So they're allowing Sinclair to come in and fill that gap. But Sinclair is not only filling that gap and everything, they are just covering it up with what they want to do. And I guess last week or so and everything, they had a big thing where they gave every television station that they own a script that they had to read in lockstep during that time about how fake news was out there, and this script, they had to read it. If they did not read it, they were going to lose their jobs. It's mad. That shows you and stuff the power of controlling television, controlling that media market.
Here's the thing, though. The thing to me is that we found out the power of calling the advertisers. And when they start losing money, and see, television only makes their money through advertising. That's it. If you don't advertise with that particular program, then you lose money. And that's how you get these people off the air. The question is, you just got to get the word out that these people they're a joke. You know, when they're putting out fake news or propaganda, just like Salem's Radio Network. Salem Radio Network is the same thing. They've been doing it for a few years too. They started around 2013. They've been around longer than that, but they really have been aggressive.
But Ted, Sinclair Broadcasting is not in that unique fit that you can have, because their money does not come from their advertising. Their money comes from independent folks and stuff out there who are controlling what goes on with Sinclair. Sinclair does not depend upon advertising dollars. They have big money backing them up. who are keeping them and stuff going, and they're paying this money and everything to keep them on air, which makes Sinclair just a little bit different, to where you can't just go out there and say, okay, we're going to get rid of your advertising dollars, because they aren't concerned with those advertising dollars. They have a evil devil out there, or several evil devils out there, who are bankrolling them through their own money.
Well, I mean, well, you can only put out so much money, and then all of a sudden your money gonna run out, because if you what are you investing in? What are you trying to say? You trying to control, or whatever they're doing?
That's exactly what they're doing.
The thing is that you got this Salem radio group, what they call a radio network. They have a division. It's a division of the Salem Media Group, and it's supposed to be a Christian media company. But they have, they do contemporary Christian music, but their mainstay, and they all over Central Florida, and they probably in Georgia and everywhere else, but their mainstay is conservative news talk. And some of the people that are on these radio stations and host their shows is like people like Hugh Hewitt, Mike Gallagher, Dennis Prager, Larry Elder, Joe Walsh, you remember him? Cal Thomas, and Lou Dobbs. Now, that's just only a few of them. But, like I said, they have 99 radio stations in 38 markets, including 61 stations in 22 of the top 25 markets, spreading their gospel, their so-called conservative being. And if you ever listen to them, all they do is dog progressives, what they call them, or liberals. That's all they do all day long. And, and then they sell this American pie in the sky and this kind of stuff, and, the American flag, and they prompt the military up, like they are superheroes and everything. So to me, that right there is nothing but propaganda. That's all it is. And then they do their mainstay is military and abortion. They're against abortion. They're against, and they for the military, and all that kind of stuff. And of course, they don't say that they're not against, the BLT, not the BLT, but the, like the organization that support homosexuals. They don't say that they're against them, but they allude to it. As first
LGBT.
What is it? GDP? What is
LGBT?
LGBT. Okay, whatever. But the point is, we supposed to live in a free country. People can live like they want to live. That's their lifestyle. That's what we are. That's what we're supposed to be, is free. And they need to live their lives the way they want to live their lives. Just like I want to live my life the way I want to live my life. But I think that right there, they have decided that they know magazines, TV, radio, they are taking over the media because they know they can program a lot of these people's minds, and they don't realize that all they're doing is controlling them. They're controlling them.
They realize what they're doing, Ted. That's exactly what they want to do. They want to control the voice and stuff for what's going on.
I'm talking about the listeners.
Well, they want to control the listeners and stuff to a point to where they know. Yeah. But then the listeners and stuff don't. If they don't have an alternate viewpoint to see, then they can only hear what these other folks are saying. So our thing and stuff is, I don't believe that we're going to affect them totally and stuff by borrowing the advertising dollars, because they have these independent, untold amounts of money that are coming in there to be able to do what they want to do, and to give to get their news and stuff to the people and stuff out to the masses. I think what we need to do and stuff as liberals or progressives and stuff, or independents or whatever, is to have our own voice out there that we can go to, who can, just like you and I are doing, exposing what these broadcasting groups and stuff are doing, and how they are using their huge sums of money and everything to put their propaganda and stuff out there into, so people can be able to hear. So if there's only one voice out there, then that's the only one they're going to listen to. So we can put our voices and stuff out there along with theirs, then at least they have an alternative view to look at. So,
yeah. One of the things that we have to realize, the reality of Black Americans. Now, you got something to say about that? Because that's something that you put in there. And I know the reality of Black America is a real thing, because, when you look at all the different things that's going on in America that's happening, we know that basically we don't run nothing. We don't have any land. We don't have major corporations where we can provide our jobs. Claude Anderson is a person I listen to quite a bit, and I tell you, we don't control our politicians. We don't control our police force. We don't control even our neighborhoods, because, and the bottom line is that I don't know exactly what so-called white America is thinking. I know that everybody's claiming that so many years they're going to be the minority in this country, and the minority, it will become the majority. So what you got to say about that?
Well, I think you touched upon that subject very well when you first start talking about it, that the reality of what's going on is that we don't own anything. If you don't own nothing, you can't control nothing. We are still being controlled by the grocery store back in the 40s and 50s and stuff. The little man on the corner at the grocery store, Mr. Charlie, because he owns the store. And if you don't own the store, you don't own anything. You got to go to him for everything that you have to do. And it's just horrible and stuff that even up until now in the 21st century, and we're getting in almost into the almost complete the first quarter of the 21st century and stuff and everything, and we're still talking about some of the same things that we talked about back in the 50s, 60s and stuff and everything, whatever. There have been some changes now. I can't totally say that we have not improved ourselves, but to get more and more things that you need and everything, you have to continue to improve upon yourself. We have to make sure that our children and stuff are being educated. Now you're seeing that a lot of these red states and stuff and everything who have been beating their educational system and stuff down now, these teachers and stuff now are coming out in droves and everything to tell the nation and especially the people in their states like Kentucky, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Arizona, that their children are not being educated. And it starts out with the teachers. The teachers aren't getting any pay. So because
these are not black schools, bro.
Right. I know. These are white schools. They are educating our children. And that's what makes it so bad. And when the white folks start hurting, Black people have already been beat down, that they have mortal wounds and stuff inside of them. So we're just seeing a touch of a tsunami and stuff there in these white states and stuff and everything. Well, these red states, I might say, that who are conservatives and stuff, that they aren't treating the educational system right. And they're not only hurting our community, they're hurting their communities and stuff also. The poor people in those states or whatever, they are hurting. The teachers are hurting. Especially when you find out, man, that the teachers and stuff are saying the things that I have been talking about, and a lot of us have been talking about for a long, long time, that you have these schools and stuff, and these kids don't even have books and stuff and everything to look at. There's no internet and stuff inside their places and stuff. They don't have anything at all and stuff and everything to teach these kids and stuff what they need to be taught and stuff if they want to continue to be a powerful nation. If you don't take care of your young people and you don't take care of your own people, you are doomed to be a failed nation.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're trying to do as far as keeping people in their place, because that's what they do to control you. Because if you don't have the freedom to move and do things that you want to do and go places and what have you, then you're going to be sort of kind of set back. But look at here. I got something, like there was a big sort of kind of whoop-de-doo in this article, and it was sort of like a survey that was given to people all over the world, all over the country. And they listed 10 things wrong with the United States. And, we can name a whole lot of things that are right with the United States. I mean, the United States is the greatest country in the world. Okay, I'm going to say that, and we know that. But the point is that here's what people were saying. Racism, Donald Trump, violence, meaning that, we haven't had a legitimate war, since 1958. We've been, in wars all over the world, and hasn't been, really a legitimate wars. And then, of course, other violence that's been going on in the country. They think that the United States is the only country on the planet. Lack of respect, too much taxes for the poor. R&B, hip hop, and rap is more popular than rock. Anti-government movements, and the current economy and troubled youth. I mean, when you look at it, the current economy, when you got 60 million people in poverty, that's a problem. And we only 300 and maybe 25 million people. You got 60 million people in poverty. And then troubled youth, that's an understatement. That is an understatement.
It starts on your school systems.
Yeah.
And when you start talking about violence and stuff and everything, you're talking about gun violence, severe gun violence. And this gun violence and stuff is perpetrating itself within our learning institutions. Kids being killed. You have children who are being slaughtered and stuff in the schools and stuff and everything. They're coming in there with guns and stuff, and grade school kids are being slaughtered and stuff. And you find out that the policymakers and stuff out there don't care.
Yeah.
That is a shame. That is an awful shame for this country, that the politicians don't care about someone coming in and killing their children. And it's not only Black kids and stuff who are being killed and stuff. These are white children who are being killed. Their own race are being killed. So, and they don't care, because you have powerful entities and stuff out there who control the money and who are paying these politicians and the stuff and everything to keep their own interests and stuff in mind. Their interests and stuff to sell guns is more powerful than taking care of your children.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for like a little pastime, this is sort of, to me, I thought was kind of wacko. And 12 million Americans. Now, I know you don't even know what this is about. Let me tell you.
I'm listening. I got an idea. Go ahead.
12 million Americans believe in lizard people, better known as reptilians. There's a book out called Children of Matrix by David Leakey. This article is talking about, has the lizard people taken over government? Now, just to tell you what these reptilian people are, they have characteristics of lizards, and some of them believe that they came from another planet. I mean, these are people that really believe in this stuff. They got websites out. They're all on Facebook, these kind of people. And some people want to even look like lizards. And so now here's in his article, he was saying Now, this is just a few of the people that they say that are lizard people. Donald Rumsfeld, Dennis, what's his name? Kuchek or Dennis Kuchek, I think it is. Kucinich.
From Ohio.
And then Ted Cruz.
Oh, man.
Newt Gingrich. Mitt Romney. Now, this right here is going to surprise you. Joe Biden.
Oh, man.
Dick Cheney.
Oh.
George W. Bush.
Oh.
Now, this one right here just really shocked me. Barack Obama.
Oh, no, I can't believe that. I can't believe that.
These are supposed to be, now they were saying that his characteristics and his, one thing that they say that they're really, like your eye color changes, you have low blood pressure, and you sort of kind of like really cold-blooded. You don't care about certain things. Well, we know Dick Gregory, he don't care about a damn thing. He blow up the whole world and left up to him. So and Newt Gingrich, oh my goodness. Ted Cruz, please. But anyway, that was something that I thought was pretty interesting. Because that is a movement. When you talk about 12 million Americans believe in this stuff.
Ted, that's hard to believe. I'm like Trump now. That's fake news. It's fake news.
Well, moving along. Let's get serious, man.
Go ahead.
Look at here. There are, oh my goodness, man, this is crazy. 45 got so many crooks in his administration, man. I mean, I wanted to make a list, but the list is too long to even put out there. But there's so much going on, man, that it is crazy. There are so many crooks that are in this administration. I was looking at a program the other day talking about Icahn. I can't think of his name. His name is Icahn. Carl Icahn. And this guy, my goodness, he had the guy that's over the EPA go overseas to prompt him to talk to this people so that he can use this oil or gas company to liquefy gas to sell to him so that he can make hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. It's crazy, man. I mean, they're using the government like it's a cash cow.
Cow. It is a cash cow for them.
Yeah, they're using the government like a cash cow.
It is a cash cow. You know that, Ted. And Scott Pruitt and stuff and everything, like you said, because he is such a big crook. The other ones weren't as obvious because you noticed that he got rid of Rex Tillerson and H.R. McMaster. All of them are gone and stuff. The Secretary of State, the National Security Advisor and stuff, they're all gone now because they believed in doing something in a normal manner. So if you don't believe doing your business in a normal manner, Trump don't like that. He doesn't like normal. He likes things that's out of whack. It seems like that's what he is because he's staying in power by ruling and stuff in a manner and stuff that he rules under chaos. If there isn't chaos, he doesn't feel comfortable and stuff and everything as a ruler, as a leader. So he has to constantly keep chaos. And you notice that the EPA director, Scott Pruitt and stuff, is got controversy and stuff going all around him. He renting a $50 room in Washington, D.C., which is unheard of, through a lobbyist and stuff that he got on Fox News and told them all out. Our EPA doesn't do business with him. It is an outright lie. He knew it was that the person who owned that building that he renting from and everything got several companies and stuff and everything that are being controlled through regulations and stuff by the EPA. We know Carl Icahn and stuff. He's about money. He's a corporator. He's been a corporator for years.
Yeah.
All he does and everything is go over there and buy up these companies and stuff with his billions of dollars and stuff and everything, and turn them upside down like a piggy bank and shake out all the money. And he picks it up and put it back in his pocket. So Trump likes those people because they think like him. And he's got people who are like-minded, and these are like-minded raiders. And we have to realize that these are like-minded raiders. If you look at this tax cut thing they got, this $1.7 trillion tax cut thing that he finally went ahead and signed. Now he is partnering stuff with the House Majority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, or whoever it is, and he wants to now go back and take some of that money away from the
military.
No, not the military. He's taking away the other money. They want to go back and leave the military alone, but he wants to go back and do a line item veto and take away all the money that went into regular folks and stuff, things like the HUD housing, the money for the people and stuff who wanted to pay for their gas bills, all the other money that went back into Medicare, money that went back into paying for Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, all of those safety net things and stuff that people need and stuff out there.
Oh yeah, especially in the winter months, man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the roads and the infrastructure. He wants to go out there and get that money back through a line item veto of getting it back. But him partnering with Kevin McCarthy to do this, so he gives with one hand and he's trying to take away with the other. And for him to try to do that, leave the military alone. The military's budget's already been exploded. It's almost up to $1 trillion. But the rest of that money and stuff that goes into taking care of the country and for the people who really actually need it, for things that are needed by everyone around in this country, other than those people who are involved in the military budget, he wants to go out there and remove that money and everything and stuff from him through line item veto. It's going to be very, very difficult for him to do that, but just the fact that he wanted to do this is creating all kind of havoc and stuff out there and stuff in this country and stuff, especially even within his party. And the fact that that he has this in mind, because now he is getting himself involved in these trade agreements, putting tariffs and stuff on products and stuff coming in from these other countries. Man, Ted, and I know, we've been involved in economics, been involved in stuff all the time. You can't win in a trade war.
No, you're not going to win.
You can't win. You can't win. No one wins. China's not going to win, and America's not going to win in this. It's going to hurt both countries.
Yeah, and see, the thing is that even though China is trying to partner with other countries around the world, and they're investing a lot of money in, around the world, in Africa and all over, the point is that a lot of the way they make their money is through America.
Mm-hmm.
And, they are the second largest, have the second largest GDP in the country, in the world. And so the point is that that will, if they do a trade war, and the United States does so much business, but we don't do as much business as China does. But the point is, it's going to hurt our economy as well. And it's definitely going to hurt China. Now, what Trump is doing, he's calling these people's bluff, because they want to sell, most business people in this country want to open those markets more. They want him to open those markets in China to sell more products in China.
Mm-hmm.
But China has been holding them back for years. And this is the one thing I do agree with, because I've been looking at this for years, man. Like, we've been running a deficit.
A trade deficit, absolutely.
Trade deficit so many years, it's ridiculous.
For decades.
And the point is that it's holding back a lot of Americans. But then what they did with their stupid self, as far as I'm concerned, these international corporations went over there and invested billions of dollars in China. They building roads and and factories and everything else over there in China. They invested money over there because they figured, say, hey, we can get some of their money because we're talking about 1.2 billion or 1.5 billion people. So they say, let's invest some millions and millions of dollars, and then, build our own factories over there so they can do business with us. But, they limit it because, they're under a different government system. They have to pay so many millions of dollars to China. So anyway, but the thing is that we're going to switch the subject here because, like, we're running out of time here. We only got a few more minutes because time is flying by. It says the nation's homeless, and especially the Black homelessness reviewed, and the poor. The one thing, we mentioned about the poor, and like you have to, really, to be a single person, you got at least make 30,000 where you live, pay for an apartment, have a car, pay your little bills or what have you, to live halfway comfortable, and $29,000, $30,000 is not a lot of money. And especially when you're paying taxes with that. So, but the one thing that that I was looking at, homeless in America, over 500,000 people.
And a large majority of them are veterans too. We have to understand.
Well, President Obama actually cut that in half, whatever number that is. I started to do a research on that, but this is the thing. In LA, I was looking at LA, the big cities.
Absolutely.
Over 40% of the homeless people are Black.
Mm-hmm.
The total number that they have is ridiculous amount. I was just looking here in Tampa. In Tampa, man, they got over 1,600 people that's homeless.
Mm-hmm.
That's just in Tampa. Hillsborough County is even larger. And then you're talking about, it's crazy, man, because within that, you're talking about when you compare foster care, over 600,000 children live in foster care. A large percentage of that is Black people,
mm-hmm.
Almost 200,000. In the prison system, 2.2 million, 1 million Blacks are in prison,
mm-hmm.
in the prison system right
mm-hmm.
now. In the local jails alone, they have over I'm talking about these local, state, city jails, 700,000 every year. They arrest, and some people stay in there and release. But then they release 600,000 every year. So it's just like a gravy train. I don't know if you call it a gravy train because they get so many federal dollars, and they charge these people all kinds of money, by being in prison and what have you. You got it's just a revolving door.
Mm-hmm.
So you're arresting, over 700,000 people a year, and then you're releasing 600,000. So you just constantly people in and out, in and out,
mm-hmm.
in and
mm-hmm.
out. So that's another thing. And it's just a revolving door. It's a racket, and who makes the money? All the lawyers, and then you got to have the judges. Then you got to have, you got to feed them and all that. And then once they get out, they got to go through what they call them, parole officers or whatever you call them. And then they got to pay so much money to them every month, to even see them, to see if they got a job and all that kind of stuff. And those people are under that system. You got over 2 million people. So now when you're talking about, that is a large chunk of people that is in Black America that is doing real bad. You're talking over almost 2 million people, of our people, Black people. And then you're talking about other nationalities and of course, Caucasian people. They're in the same system.
Mm-hmm. Now, I got two things that I want to say about what you just said. And I heard you when you said that Obama reduced that population of veterans and stuff who were homeless. Well, 45 has been in a venue and stuff to reverse all of Obama's good things that he's done, the regulations that he has done. So he is now letting that veteran population and stuff who are homeless and stuff rise. And I don't know if you noticed and stuff, but last week and stuff, he fired the VA administrator and stuff, because the VA administrator and stuff and everything is trying to keep that what Obama was doing in place and stuff, and because he is doing so good and stuff, trying to keep it in place, he said, well, I'm gonna fire you because I want this population to rise again. Now, in the prison population that you were talking about and everything, back, 10, 15, 20 years ago and stuff, it was mostly Black men or men of color and stuff who were being imprisoned and stuff now. But part of those numbers and stuff and everything that are going up, you are seeing that there are becoming more and more and more women of color and stuff now who are joining that prison population.
That was the fastest thing in the 90s, man. That was going.
Women are really becoming a large portion of that group and stuff. Not only just men, but women are going into prison and stuff now. And it's causing a lot of activists and stuff out there, especially Oprah and a couple of other very powerful women and stuff out there, to bring forth this thing about women and stuff being locked up in prison and stuff, and what they can do and everything to stop that trend. Women are being locked up. It's just that we are being eaten away and stuff by the justice system.
Yep. And I don't know what we can do about it, to be honest with you, because like this man have placed so many people in these positions, the judicial systems, and the average American, and when I say average, I'm talking about all of us, and especially people of color, get a fair share of justice. When you commit a crime, you commit a crime. Mm-hmm. But the point is that I have been reading a lot of articles. So many people have been arrested, and now all of a sudden, after they didn't spend 25 years in jail, they find out they're innocent. Mm-hmm. Somebody lied on them. Somebody did this. Somebody did that. He didn't do this or she didn't do that. And I'm saying to myself, this is not right. It's not right.
And through that monetary injustice and stuff there, where you don't have a lot of monies or whatever coming in, or you're working, most of the time, the people who are being arrested don't have enough money to pay your fines, to pay your bail money to get out of jail. So you sit there in jail because you were economically disadvantaged and stuff because of that. And because you're sitting in jail, you're going to lose your job. You're not going to be able to pay your bills. You're going to lose your home. You're going to lose everything you got because you're locked up in jail because of a crime and stuff that might be a misdemeanor, but you can't pay the bail. So you staying in jail or stuff or whatever. So when you get out, the only thing you have left is to commit more crimes because you don't have any other resources whatsoever, because there's no job you're going to get, anything. So it's just a vicious circle and stuff there and everything because of being economically disadvantaged. You're being locked up.
Yeah.
And your prison population.
Now, I know there's a lot of there's groups around now that are putting together things like that because they realize that, I know John Legend is really involved in the prison system as far as helping people, doing bails, mm-hmm. getting people out and what have you. People see the need of that because, this is definitely unfair because we all make mistakes. We all mm-hmm. do things that's stupid, especially when you're young and what have you, mm-hmm. And you make mistakes. And you might be doing something stupid or following the leader or whatever because the leader say, hey, let's do this or let's do that. Mm-hmm. And really you don't want to do it, but you do it because you want to, you want to get along. Peer pressure. Mm-hmm. So, we can understand that, but, it's a decision that you just can't make that mistake. You just can't do that, So I'm just hoping, and it's a lot of groups that are doing some great work out there, but it is so many people, man. How can you keep up? I don't know.
It's a lot of stuff going out there, but that's what makes it so good and stuff for us that we can at least put a spotlight and stuff on what's going on, and maybe someone will come along and give better solutions and stuff and everything, and start managing that portion of what's going on out there in a lot different manner. Because the only thing that we can do is spotlight all of the things going on. Because even doing this 1 hour and stuff, Ted, we have not even touched upon a lot of the things.
No, we can get deep. We can get real deep in a lot of these subjects, but we're just touching on them, and then occasionally we'll come up with some solutions and what have you. But the one thing that really just sort of kind of the prison system's always been irking my heart, because I've been reading about this stuff for years, and then also the homeless. That's bad when you got millions and millions of children that are homeless, and children, going to school and they don't even have a place to stay, living in cars or some hotel every night. Maybe they might live in shelters, and they going to school, and that's devastating, man. That is devastating for kids to live like that. And it's not the parents' fault, because they might have lost their job, or they got laid off, or can't find a job, and what have you, and that support system is just not there for a lot of these people.
It's just not there. And then when the kids and stuff out there being homeless, the only meal a lot of times they have is in the school system.
In the school system.
Yeah, they have a breakfast program. Man. Yeah, it is. So it's a mess here, but we are
we're running out of time here, and we got the big connection, believe in God connection. What's your scripture today? Man, let me do mine first, because mine is
Go ahead.
I'm going to do mine first, because mine is kind of crazy here. When I say crazy, I mean, it's sort of like well, let me just say this. And by the way, I put this on. Anyway, if you are insulted for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or a thief, or an evildoer, or as a meddler. 1 Peter 4:14-15. Now, here's a quote about a meddler. To be busy minding other people's business is to leave one's personal business unattended to. That's by Edmund Biaka. I got one more here. Interfering in someone else's argument is foolish as yanking a dog's ears. Proverbs 26:17. In other words, mind your business.
I have one that my wife, she sends out Bible verses every day, and she's very diligent about this. She's been doing it for about 8 years and stuff now. And every day she sends out, and today she sent out some other stuff here going, but I'm going to read just a part of this. It says, "Take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand in the evil days."
Oh yeah, that's good. I use that all the time.
Yeah. I found out and stuff, Ted. I've had a lot of bad things and stuff happen to me and to the family or whatever. And I realized and stuff during that time, and my wife, I guess she brings that forth and everything to you, that a lot of times you can't handle that battle. You have to take on God's armor and trust that he will do what is needed to be done. And you have to have faith and stuff that he is going to do what needs to be done, because you are a child and stuff of God. All these kids and stuff who are out there who are homeless or whatever, I know a lot of them and stuff feel desolate, and people in prison who feel desolate every day. Absolutely, but they have to believe that eventually, God's going to come in. He's going to make some things right, and you have to realize when he is when he is there to intervene into what you are doing. Because a lot of times and stuff, we have saviors and stuff, or people who God sends and stuff to us, and we look at them and everything because they now look like a savior and say, well, I don't believe you, I don't believe this, I don't believe that. You have to believe that God is sending somebody by there. You know, they have a verse and stuff in the Bible where this guy who's sitting on the side of the road, and he is telling everybody, when I'm waiting on the Lord to come by here and help me. Well, this guy drives by there and looks down at him and said, hey, you want to do this? But he doesn't look like God. He said, no, I don't need you. I'm waiting on the Lord. And another one comes by and he says, you know, in a donkey or whatever, an old ragged car. And he said, I'm come out here to help you. I don't need you. I don't need you. And then finally, Jesus comes by there and everything. And the guy's, oh, man, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here to help me. He said, well, you could have been helped a lot sooner because I sent 2 other people by here to help you, and you did not take their assistance.
That's it.
He said, I sent them to help you, and you didn't take their. So we have to realize that God comes in all colors. He comes in all manner of beings and stuff. He might come by there in a man who is poor or a beggar or whatever. You don't know.
You don't know. That's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. So
God answers prayers. He does answer prayers.
He answers your prayers, and you
just got to be aware of it.
They don't realize they're being answered because you're too hard-headed. You know, I got to have God to say this. You know, He has to come by here. No, He doesn't have to come by there. There are other people that He sends there to you. So anyway, Ted, that's my thing. So well,
it's been an interesting show, man. You know, as always, you know, I enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to next week. You know, what's going to happen, we don't know.
But as long as 45 is sitting there at 1600 and Pennsylvania Avenue, something is going to happen.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He loves chaos.